Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video I'm really excited to talk about this one. But before we get into it, let me give a special thank you and a shout out to CI Games and Hexworks for sponsoring today's video and hooking me up with a review key of Lords of the Fallen playing on Xbox Series X. You guys are looking at pure Xbox Series X gameplay right after, all the patches and updates and fixes, that the game had to have day one. I'm sure you guys, if you're familiar with Lords of the Fallen, you know about all that stuff by now. Just enjoy the boss fight gameplay in here. I wanted to keep it, nice, short, simple, not give you guys too many spoilers and stuff like that in case you wanted to check the game out. By the way, if you plan on buying Lords of the Fallen on PC, make sure you use my creator code on the Epic Games Store at Tanek127. That'll help support me here on the channel directly. And, you're doing it pretty much for, I'm not going to say for free because you're still buying a game. But, buying a game that you would want to buy anyway, you're supporting my channel as well. So I would definitely appreciate that. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Lords of the Fallen. So let's get the obvious out of the way first. I do know Lords of the Fallen has launched with some issues. There were some frame rate hiccups, and I'm not talking just on console, on PC as well. There were some frame rate issues, some bugs and stuff like that. I did release a video telling you how to get better performance out of console. Make sure you guys check that video out. I'll leave that down in the pinned comment in the comments below. And I also have a guide on multiplayer. Multiplayer is also having, some issues too, but I think it's just, people trying to play together on crossplay. I'm not sure. I'm just going off of the comments, that people leave in my video. But anyway, what is Lords of the Fallen? Lords of the Fallen is a reboot of 2014's Lords of the Fallen. Funny story, me and an old buddy of mine, we were actually having a debate back when the first Lords of the Fallen was going to come out on PlayStation and Xbox at the time, and Bloodborne was being hyped up as a PlayStation 4 exclusive at the time as well. And we were always, having this debate, on which game was going to be better. I was the Lords of the Fallen fan at the time, and he was the Bloodborne fan. Of course, back then, Bloodborne destroyed every Souls-like game that came out of the woodwork. Obviously, I think we all know what game won that battle. Not saying, that they were direct competitors or everything, but you guys get the idea. But if they had launched a product like this back then, or this kind of status of a game, maybe they would have just had a better shot. I'm not saying they would have beat Bloodborne, so don't get all that. But I'm just saying, Lords of the Fallen, it takes that Souls-like formula, and it's like the developers have been watching and studying other Souls-likes that have come out. Not just Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series, but they've just been looking at all the other side games, stuff like Code Vein, Lies of P, and just all the other games. How can we just implement and do everything right? And the biggest piece of props I want to give to this development team, despite the issues going on with multiplayer and co-op right now, is they put the co-op and the multiplayer players first in this game, and I love that. Playing with your friends in this game is simple. Now, disclaimer, I'm aware that the bugs and issues are there, all right? So don't get me confused in here what I'm saying. I'm aware there's issues with it right now, but they've made everything so simple. So, for example, you know how in a typical Souls game you have to farm a special item, your character has to be in a certain form and stuff like that in order to play co-op with your friends. And the co-op is very limited. They're with you for a certain portion of the area, you kill the boss, then they're gone. Lords of the Fallen gets rid of that completely. You go to a checkpoint, you summon your buddy, and they are with you until you get rid of them. Period. Or at least, from what I've seen. I killed this boss that you guys are seeing right here in the video just a few days ago. And the co-op partner I had with me, he stuck with me and helped me get to the game's main hub and the next area. So, when you summon co-op help in this game, it's actually help, not just for that area, but for as far or as long as you need, or for as far or as long as they're willing to help you. And me being a guy, that just loves multiplayer and co-op in my games, I'm an MMO dude, obviously, I play a lot of, you know, my action RPGs and stuff like that with friends and everything and family. I just thought, you know, that was an amazing feature. You know, that I personally love that. Like I said before, I know there's some issues going on with it, but just, you know, how they're doing co-op with this game, I personally find it great. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here, you know, to bash the Souls games for, you know, the way that they do it. That's cool. That's, you know, a different thing. But the way this game does it, you know, I really appreciate that. They put the co-op players in mind a whole lot, definitely with this one. The combat in here, you already know what to expect. It's that slow-paced, tactical, stamina-based combat that, you know, that you would typically expect out of a Souls game. There's a bunch of different classes you can start off with. If I had to talk about how this game feels, I would say think of a hybrid between probably Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 in terms of in terms of combat. Definitely, it doesn't feel too much like Elden Ring. It surely doesn't feel like Lies of P. It doesn't feel like Sekiro or anything like that. It definitely feels more like a Dark Souls game, but think of like a hybrid of like 2 and 3, you know, combat wise. That's kind of how the combat feels in this game. You have all the typical tricks, you know, the parrying, the dodging, you know, the backstabs. It's all here. All the combat's fun and awesome. Like I said, there's a bunch of different classes. You can go with magic, you can go with pyromancy, you can use a great sword and shield, daggers, bow and arrow, you know, anything you want. You know, there's all kinds of awesome stuff in here. The character creation and the environments in this game are drop dead gorgeous. This is actually one of the first Souls games ever made with Unreal Engine 5, and I think it's probably the only one made with Unreal Engine 5. I'm wrong about that. Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. The game is beautiful. Now, I know there are, you know, some frame dips. You know, the game's been a little rough around the edges since launch, so I will warn you about that. The only 2 times I've really experienced frame dips when I'm playing Lords of the Fallen, now this is me personally playing on Xbox Series X, is number 1 when I'm summoning somebody into my world. Just that time, you know, where they're arriving into the world, the game will lag and, you know, get a little bit framey for just like a few seconds. And sometimes when my co-op partner dies, that's the only time I've really seen true, you know, frame dips and any issues in this game, at least based on my experience. Now, for everybody else, it could be completely different. It's different based on, you know, everybody's experience, platform, and everything like that. But that's just based on my personal experience. The only 2 times I've really seen frame dips. Another unique and awesome thing about this, and this goes back into, you know, what I was saying originally about the co-op, is this game also has crossplay. Now, this will be the first Souls-like game to ever have crossplay, and that gives, you know, just so much potential for a community. Now, what sucks is the 2 consoles can't play together, PlayStation and Xbox. I'm willing to bet that's probably on the fault of Sony somewhere, but we're not going to point fingers or, you know, or discuss any of that in today's video. But this is, you know, just like an awesome feature, and it does, you know, hold a lot of potential, like I was saying, for the community, you know, for things like, you know, PvP and, you know, just like big PvP competitions, you know, PvP communities, people who like to do PvP, people who like to co-op and stuff like that. You know, if they can really find a way, you know, to get all these players to play together, like hopefully, you know, the cross-play restrictions, especially between the 2 consoles, get lifted one day, there could be, you know, such a huge potential for community activity around this game, and that would definitely, you know, be just an awesome thing. But other than that, guys, you know, besides some of the bugs and the issues and some of the launch problems with Lords of the Fallen, I personally haven't had too many complaints so far. But like I said, I'm just doing a first impressions, not a review. And I think it's a pretty darn good game, and I would definitely check it out. If you're sketchy, wait for a couple patch updates, and then check the game out then. But anyway, guys, y'all enjoyed today's video, smash that like button. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.